Moderna shares are higher today after reporting mixed Q4 earnings results this morning, highlighting a continued decline in demand for COVID vaccines. And that report comes as questions swirl about how new HHS Secretary RFK Jr. could impact the pharma industry at large. Well, let's bring in Jefferies senior analyst Michael Yee. Michael, it's great to have you on. Let's start with Moderna and what that report tells us about the state of the vaccine market, especially when you are talking about some of these newer cutting-edge technologies like mRNA.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing to recall is that the stock is down massively over the last couple of years, as COVID vaccinations and jabs and the whole idea of COVID over the next few years becomes more concerning. Add in the uncertainty of RFK, who has a long and checkered past about vaccines, and that's going to cause a lot of uncertainty. So I think the concern on Moderna is right. We downgraded that stock about 6 months ago, talking about serious cash burn and definitely a lot of concern around Moderna in the next year or so.
It's interesting because going through the anticipation and then even the confirmation process for RFK Jr., these stocks would sell off as he would move forward. And then yesterday, when he was finally officially confirmed, we actually saw some of these stocks, Moderna included, rally on that. And I wonder if you think the concerns have been overblown or it's just already priced into the stock, how you see policy continuing to affect pharma, particularly the vaccine makers.
Absolutely. So let's, separate the idea of headlines that RFK is a concern with the Wall Street concept, obviously, that a lot of this has been priced in. Moderna stock is down significantly since the fourth quarter. The XBI has done nothing but go down since November and Trump's election. Meanwhile, the market's gone to new highs. We believe that a lot of this has been priced in. In fact, we've termed it the RFK rally, which is certainly possible because there's probably more bark than bite around what he legitimately is going to do. I'll point out next week is speculation that many of the big pharma guys will be meeting with Trump and RFK at the White House. Let's see what comes out of that. Possible that stocks rally on that because we just want to get a good deal together and work together.
Mike, I'm actually more curious about the potential impact of the Department of Government Efficiency. One of the twists here in some of its early moves, cutting off USAIDs, there were some farmers in red states who were saying, boy, our food was being purchased through USAID to be sent overseas. We'd like that to continue because now those purchases aren't happening. Are there any drug makers you think that are exposed to any kind of similar effect that might come downstream from Department of Government Efficiency moves?
Well, I'll tell you that there's definitely concern about NIH and CDC budget cuts. That could certainly have some downstream effect towards R&D spend, more for the instruments and more for the R&D budget spend. There's some concern also around tariffs, around how that concerns some countries' shipments of drugs or API into the U.S. I would say that a company like Gilead, which has 40% of their exposure to Medicare, Medicaid, it's been a little bit of concern there, but it's more about research budget type spending rather than any sort of direct drug pharmaceutical spending. So it hasn't been a lot of concern there, and we feel okay about that.